Anyway, Donald Trump's campaign stop in Arizona is starting, and he's walking on stage. Does this one have what is this goddamn quality, dude? Can we find one with like captions? Oh, hell yeah. You can always count on Right Side Broadcasting, baby. You can always count on them. 96,000 people watching. Oh, we are so back.
Well, thank you very much, and a very big hello, Arizona. Hello, Phoenix. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. You built our country. 74 days from now, can you imagine? 74 days. Then we gently move into that beautiful White House and we take over our country and we make it great again. We're going to win Arizona. We're going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we're going to win back our beautiful White House. We're going to win it back. We're going to win it back in record force. Everyone here tonight is part of the greatest political movement in the history of our country. You know, this is the greatest political movement. It's called Make America Great Again. And it's right now bigger and better and stronger than it ever was before. You know, we won in 2016, and we did much better in 2020. A lot of people don't understand that, but we understand it. Millions and millions more votes. But those two are nothing like the spirit that we have now. It's amazing. And that's because we've seen how bad government can be. That's why it's a combination.
You think it's good Trump is great for the world because he will destroy the USA?
Destroying our country is unbelievable, and people have seen it.
Because I don't think you understand, dude. Empires don't just like quietly crumble, okay? They don't just like perish on their own without little harm to others.
You have a common with a party of common sense. You say what you want. Nice to say conservative, but really with a party of common sense. We want fair elections, free elections. We want strong borders. We want a great military. We want great education. We want a nice home at low interest rates or low taxes and no regulations. That's why we're welcoming support from millions and millions of disaffected Democrats, and they are joining like wildfire. Now, it's a little different than it was. You know, we had somebody, I was up 18 points, and they said, Joe, you can't win. You're getting out of the race. No, I want to go and give it a shot. No, Joe, you're getting out of the race, Joe. And if you don't do it the nice way, we'll do it the tough way, Joe. And he said, okay, and now I have a new opponent. This never happened before. We spent $100 million and a lot of time on defeating him. And as soon as he was gonzo, it all started with the debate. The debate. All that time, all that effort. A friend of mine said, you did a terrible job in the debate. I said, why do you say that? Everybody said I was brilliant. They said, no, you got him out of the race with that debate. It's all right. We have to do what we have to do, right? We have to do what we have to do. And now we have somebody that, in theory, should be easier to beat. In theory, because she's a radical left Marxist, and everybody knows it. But we're welcoming the support from millions of disaffected Democrats, independents, moderates, old-fashioned liberals who still believe in things like, little things like borders. I was there yesterday. That's a scary place. Sir, it's about time that you get out of the sun, sir. We're going to have to get you out of here, sir. Let's get the hell out of here. She was the border czar. She presided over the worst border in history, not American history, world history. Democracy, liberty, and, of course, always the right of free speech. We don't really have free speech right now. The press, look at all of them. Look at all of them. Look at that. Wow. Man. That's a lot of press. That's a lot of fake news.
The thing is, like, all of those people in Arizona who are radicalized towards the border are never going to vote for Kamala Harris. They're primed right? But there are probably young Hispanic voters, especially, but young voters in general, that would very likely think about the Kamala Harris campaign in a different way if she communicated in a different way.
A while ago, she changed, didn't she, huh?
Arizona also happens to have a lot of independents, and people think that you have to have an aggressive stance on the border in Arizona. I disagree.
Consent. How about that one? How would you like that? Without parental consent, can you imagine your kid comes home without parental consent? What happened to my baby? What happened? The true divide in American politics today is between these far-left fascists, led by Harris and her group, and you know who her group is, and citizens of all political backgrounds who love our country, share traditional American values, the values that you have right here in this great state, and look past our differences to unite around a thing called...
They're showing the entire rally because you know Trump was like, we're packing the halls, and I want you to show the entire rally. Like, this is a rally flex now. Why does he keep saying borders are when there is none? It is a non-official term that simply means that you were tasked with handling the border. It is correct. People have called Kamala Harris the border czar because that was her job. She was tasked with dealing with the border under the Biden administration.
Burn the American flag, you go to jail for 1 year. Nobody's going to be burning the American flag anymore.
Wait, that's against the First Amendment.
Our opponents worship the deep state. We want to obliterate the deep state. Slight difference. Our opponents, thank you. Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. We don't even know who the hell the country is that we're fighting. We believe that America is strongest when America is at peace. We want peace through strength. That's what we want. Like we had 4 years ago. We didn't have any wars, except we wiped out ISIS very quickly. It was supposed to take 5 years to beat ISIS. I did it in 3 weeks.
See, Mr. Peace candidate, peace through strength.
They support coercive COVID vaccine mandates and want to fire you. If you don't obey, you get fired. We oppose these mandates as a fundamental violation of our God-given rights. We don't want the mandates. We don't want the mandates. They want to arrest their political opponents and silence those who disagree. We reject censorship in all forms, and we believe in freedom, open debate, and fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. Our opponents slander us as a threat to democracy. Trump is a threat to democracy. No, they're a threat to democracy. How many times have you heard, you know, it's a talking point for them, right, Deb? It's a talking point. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. And those guys say it too, because they're the same thing. They're like a part. They're a subsidiary of the Democrat Party. Meanwhile, they rig their primaries. They force out Joe Biden. They force him out of the party. Joe Biden got 14 million votes in an unconstitutional coup, and they appoint a nominee who never got a single vote. And when she ran against this guy, and I'm no fan, he was the worst president in the history of our country. He let in millions and millions of people through her. Let in millions of people would destroy our country. But we're going to get those people out, the people that came in here from jails and prisons and mental institutions. But they threw him out. You know, they ran against each other for the primary, and she never even made it to the first state, the great state of Iowa. Never made it. And now she's the one running. A little strange, isn't it? You see, that's really a threat to democracy if you get right down to it, right? In our movement, we know that democracy does not mean rule by the Democrat establishment. It means rule by the American people.
You missed the ad? The ivermectin ad? I'm a right side broadcaster watcher, like a permanent watcher. You think I miss those ads? I've seen them every day, a million times a day.
Many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. Many of you people have heard of him. He's very low key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
There's something to be said about how there goes my hero. There's something to be said about how they're just leaning into the weird. By the way, there's something to be said about like how unimaginably invested they are in being as weird as possible, because here's a guy who somehow was way weirder than the Republicans. They did not pay for them as elections. Oh, no, yeah.
And he deserves it. He deserves it. For the past 16 months, Bobby has run an extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in. They put up rules. I've never seen rules like he had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, you know, little things like that. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. And I know that they are looking down right now, and they are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby. You want to know the truth? And I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody that got applause like that.
Dude, Robert Kennedy Jr. described Trump before getting promised an admin job, a terrible human being, the worst president ever, and barely human. He probably is a sociopath.
It's true. Amazing. Soon after I can't even believe I have to say this, nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month, Bobby called me to express his best wishes. He knows firsthand the risks incurred by leaders who stand up to the corrupt political establishment. When you stand up, you bring on some trouble for yourself, but you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for the country. I will tell you, we are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety during the course of his campaign while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack last month. But I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more. Millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food. That's why today I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. We want every child in America.
Bro, we're going to get so much weirder. This campaign is going to get even weirder, dude. It's awesome. This is so sick.
I want to ask Bobby to speak for a little while. I'll stand aside. I'm going to stand aside.
Did he say he's going to reveal the truth of the JFK assassination? Please tell me he said that.
A little bit on the opposite side of the equation, but I will say this. He is a brilliant, I still think of him as young. He's not that young. I always call him young, but he's not that young. But he is a phenomenal person, a phenomenal man who loves the people of this country as much as anybody can love the people of this country. So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know Kamala Harris declined to speak to him. Why would they?
Thank
Are you kidding
President
me?
Trump.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. Like, dude, what are you talking about? You're insane.
Thank you. A few hours after the assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to end the corruption at CDC and FDA and USDA. And these institutions, these regulatory agencies, are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president. And we talked. We had a very good talk. And then he invited me to come see him the next day. And I went to Minneapolis and saw him. We met again a couple of weeks later in Florida. And we talked about, not about the things that separate us, because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic. Our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world. Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food? And
I'm not kidding. For a very specific type of voter, this is like the greatest move. Like, there are so many Americans who don't mind all the forever chemicals and everything. They don't think about it at all, but they also simultaneously hate modern medicine and think that, like, as long as, you know, you eat like a weird diet, everything will be fixed in your life. And there are a lot of people like that.
Use that money back here in the United States.
This man is the God, okay? He's speaking God's honest truth.
And the safest, the best way to build a safe America is to rebuild our industrial base and rebuild the middle class in this country. And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country? And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history and say that the people who were censoring were the good guys? They're always the bad guys, because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism. And don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms? And who is going to protect us against totalitarianism? And I want to ask you again, don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Why does RFK Jr. sound like he got stuck in a vibrating chair and doesn't know how to get out?
Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
I think there was, I don't know, look, not to be too much of an optics guy, but like, it is funny that he's just like talking about, don't you want your children to be free of cancer? And it's like, bro, you look like you have all of the cancer. You look like you captured the essence of cancer. Like you sucked it out of everyone else in the room. I think there's also something really funny about RFK. There's so much. I love RFK so much. Man, I should have stolen the RFK Jr. hat that Brace had. God damn it. Okay. I fucked up. Like he gave it to me. He let me wear it for a little bit. And I was just like, I should have just kept it. Great DNC rally, this one. Honestly, dude, what he's saying is pretty reasonable. Shut up. Shut up. Don't even start. Okay. No, it is not reasonable at all. Okay. Give me a goddamn break. This man is anti-medicine, dude. He's anti-medicine. There is nothing reasonable about what he's saying.
But if he were in a regular system, there are a lot of people that maybe liked him the best, but they said we can't.
Okay, I love RFK Jr. because he is such a contradictory character, right? He has the capacity to he's a crank magnet. He's what I like to call a crank magnet. Isn't this bad for Trump overall? Aren't most independents really repelled by this shit? A few pieces on his insane takes on medicine and CNN boosts his weird narrative of no. Yes. Trump did this because he's desperate. He did this because he wanted to either A, take out RFK from the ballots completely, or B, take out RFK from the ballots and get some kind of endorsement from him. Because RFK was eating away at Trump's base. All of the polls showed, all of the triple polls that showed in swing states where the direct doubleheader matchup between Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris looked a lot closer, and even in some instances Donald Trump winning, versus with RFK Jr. on the ticket, all of a sudden he would take some from the Democratic Party, but he would take a ton more from Donald Trump. So he had to get him out because obviously this race for Trump is in the margins now. Like that's a big boost. He'll get a big boost. Problem is, it will also probably scare away some of the more moderate voters, if he even has moderate voters at all, like Trump at this point in his base of support. The thing is, what I want to talk about is how RFK is a crank magnet, but also incredibly contradictory as a figure. Because as a crank magnet, he presents himself as anti-establishment, despite the fact that he is from a literal political dynasty, the Kennedys, right? They are politics, okay? This is an American political dynasty. That's number one. Number two, he is literally, he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? So while he is the guy who's like, yeah, I want to take out the deep state. He's like, bro, you literally were homies with Jeffrey Epstein. Self-admitted homies with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, and on top of that, he is one of the, just like Donald Trump, biggest dick riders of Israel. So, like, it makes no sense that these crank guys literally are also simultaneously like going for two guys that are somehow more ultra Zionist than Kamala Harris is. Like, that's crazy. So it makes no damn sense, even in the weird worldview that they've cultivated, you know? What's up? You want to come inside? Oh, you miss Daddy? Okay.
Who they are that just pour into our country by the millions and millions and millions. We need to turn the page of 4 years of calamity and failure. They have had calamity and failure, and say, Kamala, you've done a horrible job. You've been the worst vice president in the history of our country. Kamala, you're fired. You're fired. Get out. Get out. Get out, Kamala. She's the only person ever to get a nomination of a party without getting one vote. She didn't get one vote. Hey, maybe she's smarter than we think. You know, you could look at it that way. As vice president, Kamala cast the deciding votes, causing the worst inflation in decades, costing the typical American household $28,000. Think of this, higher prices. It was inflation, $28,000. As border czar, she flooded America with savage illegal alien criminals who have been raping, pillaging, and killing our cities and our towns. 3 years ago this week, she was the final vote on the catastrophic Afghanistan withdrawal. And we were withdrawing, but we were going to withdraw with dignity, with grace, and with strength. We would have been out faster, but we were going to keep Bagram. But that was the most embarrassing event in the history of our country, leading to horrific war and humiliation all over the world. When Putin saw that, he invaded Ukraine. It brought a lot of people back because they said the United States is run by incompetent people. The United States is no longer respected. It's no longer strong. That's what they said. A lot of these things that you're seeing now wouldn't have happened except for the horrible, horrible event of Afghanistan. You know, I was dealing with the leader of Afghanistan, Abdul, and I said, Abdul, you can't kill our people. He was killing our people. I had a strong talk with him. I'm not
he's
gonna get
hella
into
low
it
energy, dude. God damn, his heart is not in it.
Without one soldier being sniped at or shot at. Not one soldier injured or killed. And then we had a tremendous election where we did probably 10 or 12 million more votes than we got the first time. You know, most presidents don't get as many votes the second time because people get bored, but they don't get bored with me. They get bored. No, they get bored. Like Barack Hussein Obama got far fewer votes the second time, and he won. He won. Have you heard of him, Barack Hussein Obama? Remember Rush Limbaugh? Barack Hussein Obama. He was nasty to me. You know,
he
was nasty. Michelle was nasty. They're all nasty. Nasty people. They were very nasty. I was surprised. I thought he was, and I was sort of nice to him. I said, no, you know, I like him. Good. It didn't matter. They were nasty to me. And, of course, last night, Kamala mentioned my name, I think, 21 times. She didn't mention the border. She didn't mention inflation. She didn't mention anything but my name over and over and over again. She blamed me for the border. I haven't been there in 4 years. You saw it. I had the safest border, the best border we've ever had. She blamed me for the border. They lied so much. They lied about everything. She said I was involved with something called Project 25. I don't even know what the hell it is.
He doesn't even know it.
No, they really were nasty. And then they say to me, sir, please stick to policy. Don't stick to personality. You should be nice to people, sir. You have to be nice. I call them up. My geniuses, they get paid a fortune. Actually,
They're
not
booing.
that much.
They're booing
But I
his
call up my
staffers.
people. I say, they're knocking the hell out of me, and you say I shouldn't get personal. I have to get personal, don't I? I have to get personal.
Yeah, obviously these guys love that.
They get personal. But I'm going to do my best. So they're allowed to get personal with me, but I'm not allowed to get personal to them. They call me names that are so bad. Our great First Lady says, but you're not that way, darling. They love our great First Lady, I will tell you that. They do. They do. But darling, you're not that way. I said, I know that. And if I say something just slightly out of order, like, she didn't do a very good job last night, please never, ever mention look or anything like that.
Tuesday, much love, chat. Disrespecting me with that lib
really
German.
great.
Don't call me
That's
lib
the end of your
Lamau.
political career, so I wouldn't say a thing like that. How about her opening where she said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, he's
thank
coming
you,
after Kamala.
Thank you, thank you. I said, what the hell is wrong with her, Deb? Debbie Lesko, she's a winner.
What's your view of down ballot voting? I love voting. I love down ballot voting. I'm a big advocate for down ballot voting. You should do it. You should also avoid seeing the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. Those are the two consistent policies at the Hasanabi broadcast.
Is that Sheriff Joe?
Sheriff Joe Arpaio? He's not dead. One of the most racist men in Arizona.
That's Sheriff Joe. Look at that. A legend.
Cam Grants, thank you for the 5 gifted.
You know, Sheriff Joe's looking at these clowns where they have no idea what they're doing, where people come in by the millions. He had nobody come in. Remember, he dressed everybody in pink. Remember that, right? Is that right, Joe? They had to dress in pink.
Joe Arpaio literally did like Israel-style prisons in Arizona. Like, he had straight-up concentration camps that he was running.
Because he didn't want them coming into our country. Do you remember Arizona when Sheriff Joe was at the border? You didn't have people coming in.
What? Joe Arpaio
I think for the 1 year he had one
camps.
person come in, but they got him. Now we have 3 million people coming in through your border. Your border. Oh, through the whole thing, it's ridiculous. It's not. Joe, it's an honor, and I'll tell you, people didn't treat you right. You are a legend, and you did a job like nobody else. True. Great going, Joe. And we love your wife. I lost his wife a few years ago, and she was a hell of a woman, right, Joe? But she's looking down at you, and she's proud of you. She's saying, you did very well with this group of people. But I've known you for a long time, and there was nobody like him. He understood the border better than anybody, and he ran it fairly. He ran very fair, but he ran it strong, and they respected him. They didn't even try. So thank you very much, Joe. And your wife she's proud of you. She's proud of you. Very proud of you. We're grateful to be joined tonight by the founder of Turning Point Action, a gentleman named Charlie Kirk. Thank you, Charlie. What a job he does. I said, Charlie, do me a favor. We got this thing won, but do me a favor, make sure they don't cheat. The only way they can do anything is if they cheat like hell, and we've been victims of that. Make sure they don't cheat, Charlie. We don't need the votes. We just want to make sure that they don't cheat. Hello, Sheriff. How are we doing? How are you guys doing? Good. Thank you. We need every sheriff to get over there, every law enforcement official, because we got the votes. We got to make sure everything's on the up and up. Charlie and his team of people, I mean, he's got hundreds of thousands of young people. It's actually quite discriminatory. Charlie, have you ever been sued by old people for not accepting them? He's got the youngest looking group of people, and they're warriors. They're unbelievable. The job Charlie has done is incredible. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. The job he's done is really incredible. Also with us is an incredible congresswoman who has decided to go onto a certain board. Do you know what I'm talking about? The most important board maybe in the whole country. And she's going to make sure everything's on the up and up. Debbie Lesko. Debbie, thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you, Debbie. You make sure, Debbie. She just won a big election by a massive, well, you won that election easy, didn't you? She won it pretty easy. Another person who's a friend of mine, he's a warrior for a long time. He's great. He loves his state, he loves our country. Andy Biggs, Congressman Andy Biggs. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. And two other warriors, a young one and a little bit older one, but boy, they are tough. You don't get tougher than Eli Crane and Paul Gosar. Paul Gosar. Great, thank you, Eli, great.
Paul Gosar, the Groyper candidate.
Great people. And the next congressman from Arizona's 8th district.
Paul Gosar is a literal Nazi, Chad.
Wow. He's gonna be good for a long time. He's a young gentleman.
This is like, this is Arizona's finest. Like this lineup right here are some of the most racist people that Arizona has to offer. Like Arizona's Hitlerites.
Gina.
All in one corner here.
She is doing a job. And a very good friend of mine, the next senator from Arizona, I really believe this. Look, she's running against, we don't have to do a big, I was going to bring her up. I was going to say, come on, Carrie, speak. But she just spoke for half an hour. What the hell am I going to do here?
Dude.
But I will tell you, she's running against a guy who's a rubber stamp for, it used to be Biden. Now, who the hell knows? I don't even know. Do we know who it is? Who, a rubber stamp for somebody. But Ruben Gallejo is horrible. He's an open borders maniac. He's a defund the police maniac. He shouldn't be allowed to even run in this election against her because Carrie Lake is incredible. She's incredible.
Nick Fuentes.
She's tough. She's smart. She's got heart. And she should be your next senator. I hope you win this sucker.
Carrie Lake is also a nut job. Again, not going to win. No
Carry
shot.
your shoes. I mean, nice. You know the expression, can't carry her shoes. And you're going to have a big victory, and we're going to work together, and we're going to make sure we win this state. I say this presidentially, if we win this state, which we're expected to, we're leading and all of that, we win the presidency, and we have to take Carrie Lake with us. Go get him. Go get him, Carrie. Go get him, Carrie.
There ain't no way Carrie Lake's winning.
Very important.
Oh no, the crowd shots are definitely Trump's request.
And
absolutely.
honestly,
He slammed this. He slammed this meetup. 100 P.
Not problem. She's solid as a rock. This guy is a freaking loser. He's a loser. So, with that, we'll go on. But good luck, Carrie. We love you. Special.
If Carrie Lake wins this race, it is entirely due to Democratic Party incompetence on like dropping the or trying to angle the border issue from the perspective of like right-wing reactionary sentiment.
Let's do a poll. I love
and the down ballot consequences of like a Trump victory in Arizona that comes from that.
To a pollster that doesn't even poll. You know what they do? They take your money. They say, let's see, all right, 49 to 51. All right. It's one of the greatest businesses in history.
I don't think she'll win.
Here.
But
do you like the name? She's a radical left lunatic, okay? She's a defunder of the police. She wants to defund all the things that we talk about.
Yeah, no.
Do I call her Comrade
up 5.
Kamala Harris, or do I not?
Up 9, up
Ready?
8.
Ready? What do I do there? You tell me.
I don't think people understand, bro.
Okay.
Trump's issue
yes or no.
is that like he sticks to these losers. Like Republicans before Trump.
No.
Okay, Republicans before Trump at least would like cut losers out. Like there would never be a moment like a Jamie Harrison getting to the top of the being in charge of the Democratic Party, right? Like Democrats love losers. Republicans historically used to cut losers, right? You lose, you're done. You snooze, you lose. You lose, you're out. Trump, on the other hand, values sycophants and loyalty more than anything else. So he literally will stick to them and will just like keep pushing them through. Even if they're genuinely unelectable people. He also has a tendency to put loyalty over like electoral prowess when he'll run unaccomplished first-time Republican picks as well. Like that guy with the troop who got exploded. Like wasn't that guy has no? If I'm not mistaken, the guy in Nevada. Like that's a first-time candidate, right?
He's allowed at least 20 million illegal aliens into our country, including
dude. You know who I'm talking about? The guy who's like he's a massive burn victim, dude.
From 159 countries.
How much do you miss Blake Massa from Arizona? I do not miss the shooter.
From Africa, the Congo.
Yeah, Sam Brown, this guy.
A lot of coming from jails in the Congo. Let me tell you, these people, the nice thing, they make our criminals look like the nicest people on earth. That's how tough they are. They come from the Middle East. They come from areas that we're fighting. They come from...
He finished in third in 2014, launched his campaign to become a U.S. Senator from Nevada. In 2021, he raised over $1 million every quarter of his campaign, challenged Adam Laxalt, a Republican who was endorsed by Donald Trump. Brown received the support and endorsement of local state political party leaders, but lost in the primary.
She's been in office. She has set an
and now he's doing another Senate campaign,
triple and quadruple,
challenging Jackie Rosen.
Where I'd have like 150,000 and she'd have 2.5 million. What she has done to this country, nobody can tell you. You know, she destroyed San Francisco as the district attorney. She destroyed California. You know that. This is a woman that's going to take.
Do I think RFK Jr. dropping out will have any major effects? No. It will have a minor effect. It will uncuck the polls a little bit for Trump in favor of Donald Trump. It'll make it a closer race for Donald Trump.
So criminals are walking into stores. Mean, nasty guys.
Your unk is on one regarding RFK Jr. I know, I saw it. Don't show me unk posting right now.
I want to get up. They walk out, then they walk back in. The whole thing. This is who we're going to have running our country? I don't think so. And nobody lies like her. She's a liar. She makes up crap. She's the one going to raise. You know, she said, Donald Trump is going to raise. You know why? She said I was going to raise it. Because I'm going to put tariffs on other countries coming into our country, and that has nothing to do with taxes to us. That's a tax on another country. And I did it with China, and we had no inflation. You know, I had no inflation. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China, and not one other president took in 10 cents. They were all, oh, China, we're afraid of China. We're afraid of China. According to a new DHS report, Kamala Harris also lost, and this is impossible to believe. Listen to this, $350 125,000 migrant children are gone. They're missing. She allowed them to be trafficked into our country. Many of these children are now in sex slavery or they're dead, probably mostly dead. They will never see their homes or their parents again. They were swiped out of their homes. They were taken out of their homes. 300, this is a government number, 325,000 children, sex slaves, or they're dead. Many are dead. Hamas has so little respect for Kamala and Joe Biden, crooked Joe Biden, that the hostages that they're talking about all the time, I believe they're largely gone. I believe they're largely gone. So sad. When you look at what happened, when you look at that attack on October 7th, I believe they're gone. And the reason they're not negotiating, you know, it says Hamas has decided not to negotiate because what they want back are the hostages. And I think those hostages, for the most part, aren't around anymore. And so they said, oh boy, we can't really negotiate because we don't have the hostages. The hostages are largely gone. How sad, how terribly sad. If they feared and respected Joe Biden and Kamala, they would never have killed those hostages. They would have never attacked. They would never have attacked when I was president. Iran was broke. Iran was broke. I told China, if you spend any money on buying oil from Iran, you'll never do business in the United States again, and we're going to put a 200% tariff on you. And Iran was broke, and they had no money for Hamas, and they had no money for Hezbollah. You can check your numbers. Look at it. When my last year, they had no money. We had no terrorism. You know, for 4 years, I didn't have any terrorism. Do you notice that? None. And when they asked Viktor Orban, the prime minister of Hungary, very strong guy, what is the reason that things are so bad now? The Middle East is blowing up. Russia's blowing up with Ukraine. There's wars starting all over the place. Looks like bad things could happen in Taiwan with China. What's the reason? He says, you got to get Donald Trump back as president. You won't have any problems. That's what he said. It's true. It's true. They respected your country. They respected your leader, but they respected our country. Now they laugh at our country. Our country has become a joke. She's provided deportation immunity to the vast majority of criminal aliens living inside the United States and is importing MS-13 gang members, known as the most violent gang of them all, into our cities and into our high school. Think of it, they're coming into our high schools. Kamala has set loose thousands of Venezuelan gang members who, according to law enforcement bulletins, have been given a license to shoot American police officers. You know that, right? Under Harris, ICE deportations are at the lowest level in history, the history of our country. She supports deadly sanctuary cities. Now, of course, she's flip-flopping on everything. You do know that, right? You know that, Joe? She's flip-flopping on everything. Debbie, right? She's a flip-flopper. Andy, she's a flip-flopper. She flip-flops on everything. Because she was polled. She said she didn't do too well. That's probably why she was the first out of 22 people. I can't get over it. She was the first failure. And now she's running. Oh, we're going to beat her. I look forward to the debate, too. I do look forward to the debate. Look forward to it.
Oh.
She called for abolishing ICE. These are great patriots who are tough as hell. You need tough people. She's compared ICE agents to the KKK. She wants to repeal the federal law that makes illegal immigration a crime, making illegal immigration totally legal. It's okay to come into our country. She wants to release all of the thousands of criminal illegal aliens that are locked up in detention centers, and these are the toughest of them all. She wants to release them into our country. We have detention centers for the toughest of them all. She says, we're going to release them. Now, maybe they'll ask her tonight, oh, no, I would never do that. She might change. She's changing and everything. But don't forget, if the election ever went haywire, if they can find a way to cheat enough and she wins, in quote, she wins, she's going to do everything that you wouldn't dream of, including no fracking. She didn't discuss fracking last night. No fracking in Pennsylvania. I can't imagine she could do well in Pennsylvania. 500,000 jobs are involved with fracking, and a huge amount of their budget, everything's involved with fracking, and she's against it. In her speech last night, she lied about almost everything. She lied when she said, I was going to raise taxes. No, I'm lowering taxes. She's the one. She lied and said that, oh, this is the best. I'm going to be the one, and I was already there. I didn't touch your Social Security, and a lot of Democrats wanted me to. She lied when she said that I want to cut Social Security and Medicare. No, she wants to cut it because she wants to have the illegal immigrants coming into our country to go on Social Security and Medicare, which will destroy Social Security and Medicare. It's Kamala Harris who cast a tie-breaking vote to cut Medicare by $266 billion. She cut your Medicare, remember this, by $266 billion, and then promised mass amnesty last night to 20 million illegal aliens and make them American citizens, which will absolutely obliterate your Social Security and your Medicare, ultimately leaving those programs bankrupt and our seniors desperate and poor. And remember, when you talk about all of those hundreds of billions of dollars, you know what she's putting that money into? The Green New Scam. She took it out of your Medicare. She's putting it into one of the greatest ever, one of the great voices of sport. Stand up. Let's see if anybody knows who the hell you are. Good job. Hey, good man. He's done a good job. But she took it out and she wants to put it in. She put it into the Green New Scam. She said the border was safe under her direction. You know, they're the party of disinformation and misinformation. They'll say something 100 times. The border was safe. Did you see last night? The border's safe. The first time she said that was about 2 months ago, and she went like this. The border was safe. She started choking. Horrible. They are the misinformation, disinformation. They lie. They keep saying the same untruth over and over again. And you know, you're not like in my business. You're not in this political business like these people. You're in other things. You're lawyers and you're carpenters and you're electricians and you're drivers and you're doing a lot of things. By the way, no tax on tips. Remember that? No tax on tips. No tax on tips. She tried that one, and yet in Congress right now they have bills to destroy people that don't. Do you see what's going on? It'll never happen with her. It's guaranteed to happen with me. No tax on tips. But actually, it's the most dangerous and unsafe border anywhere in the world. There's never been a border like it. No country ever. If a country had a border like that, they would fight with sticks and stones if they had to keep the people out. She believes that if you say things enough over and over again, even if they're stone-cold lies, like Project 25, he believes in... I don't even know what the hell it is. I know it's a group of people that got together and they're slightly on the conservative side. And it's unbelievable what they do. It's really unbelievable. She would destroy our country if she was ever elected. Our country will go down the tubes. We'll be in a depression like 1929. We will not have a country any longer. Yesterday, I was at the border with the victims of Kamala's migrant crime wave. One of them is here with us tonight. Michael Morin is the brother of Rachel Morin, who you know about. Rachel was a cherished 37-year-old mom of 5 absolutely incredible children, beautiful woman. Last summer, Rachel was out on a run when she was brutally murdered by an illegal alien who was led into America by Kamala Harris. Let her in. Said, let her in. The animal who committed this heinous crime first killed another woman in El Salvador before walking across the open border. Just walked right in, no problem. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in cold blood.
Yeah, they are parading around the same few of the 23 people, like the most high-profile cases, because emotional anecdotes are very hard to combat, okay? They're very, very, very hard to combat. And obviously Trump knows this. I mean, it's the easiest way to get dumb people on your side. Just use emotional anecdotes and make it seem like they are responsible for a much larger percentage of the share. It's ridiculous. Like your uncle, yeah.
I mean,
he got duped by that shit.
Increase in violent crime. These are government numbers, by the way, including 58% increase in rape, 89% increase in aggravated assault, and 56% increase in robbery. During the riots of 2020, she encouraged her followers to donate to bail criminals, looters, and arsonists and killers. People died, including Sean Michael Tillman, a dangerous repeat offender who went on to shoot and kill a Minnesota man 6 times in the head. He shot him 6 times in the head and torso. And Kamala, let him out, let him go. While Kamala Harris was DA of Sanctuary City, San Francisco, 20 years ago, maybe the greatest city in the world. Today it's unlivable. She ignored the pleas of victims' family. Please, please please don't do this to us. And refused to seek the death penalty against an illegal alien MS-13 gang member, one of the worst murderers they've seen in years, who murdered an innocent man and his 2 sons and didn't even remember he did it. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as a non-violent crime. Comrade Kamala Harris.
It's pretty crazy that he can like remember every single instance where like an undocumented migrant has committed a heinous act of violence.
Both San Francisco and California itself. He's a terrible governor. What a governor. For years, but you know, she might have picked a worse one. If you look at the numbers in Minnesota, we hope we're going to win Minnesota. You know, it hasn't been won since 1972, Richard Nixon. But we're doing well there, too. But the governor is horrible. You know what he did? He approved a bill to give tampons in every young man's bathroom. Right?
Yeah. Every time he calls Kamala Harris Comrade Kamala, I suspect that the Democrats move further to the middle, cucking their messaging.
Kamala Harris has pushed legislation to strip police officers of protection, trying to bankrupt them and ruin their lives for doing their jobs. No protection, no immunity, no nothing. She even endorsed defund the police. I will never defund the police. I will only fund the police and fund them.
They're going to move further and further to the right.
Money,
yes, not middle, middle right.
I will always back our law enforcement heroes in blue. We are pleased to be joined tonight by the president of the Arizona Police Association, Justin Harris. Oh, no, he's not a relation. Justin, are you a relation? Last name is Harris, spelled the same. I'm very concerned about this. I'm not really. But Justin Harris is a great gentleman who has a special announcement. Justin, would you please come up? Thank you. It's an interest. I'm not worried about it. Thank you, great, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm a little concerned about that illegal immigration chart you put up there. Was that a spike in immigration or the inflation?
Sort of both.
Kind of both, right? Wonderful job those Democrats are doing. My name is Justin Harris. I'm a veteran police sergeant here in Arizona with 25 years of experience in service. And I also have the privilege and the honor to serve as the state president of the Arizona Police Officers Association. The Arizona Police Officers Association is the largest
is the
law
camera
enforcement
guy
association in the
vaping?
state of Arizona, and we represent.
Is the camera guy vaping, dude? I think he is, right? What the is going on?
And federal law enforcement levels. We cover the entire state. And on behalf of the Arizona Police Association, we are proud to welcome President Trump to the great state of Arizona. And to the wonderful city of Glendale, home of Luke Air Force Base. Folks, these men and women in Luke fly those beautiful F-16 Fighting Falcons of the 309th Fighter Squadron and those beautiful, beautiful F-35 Lightnings. Nothing like hearing those jets flying overhead, which that's the sound of freedom and American ingenuity. Also a special thank you to the Glendale Mayor, Jerry Wires, and the entire City Council for their unwavering support and advocacy for our police officers, active duty military, and our veterans. You're not going to find stronger advocates for our military, our veterans, and our police officers anywhere in the world other than Glendale. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Also, I wanted to give a special thanks to the men and women of the Glendale Police Department, the best and most professional police department in the country. Okay, thank you. With a special thanks to Police Chief Chris Briggs and the other 8 West Valley Coalition departments that allowed us to use their law enforcement officers here today to keep us all safe. Thank you, gentlemen and women. Law enforcement today is perhaps the most complex occupation on earth.
What's the purpose of this guy? The most thumb-looking guy you can possibly get on stage so that Trump looks pro-cop. I mean, he is pro-cop. He's probably going to talk about how he's, you know, how cops are not respected enough, even though our job is the hardest.
Uncontrolled, chaotic, and stressful situations, often at great risk to their own personal safety.
Yeah, there you go, classic.
Given the literally millions of contacts between officers and the communities annually, with a few exceptions, officers make those decisions correctly as trained and in accordance with the law. But high profile does not mean high frequency. Currently, in this day and age of instant information, social media, and videos, there's an unrealistic expectation of absolute perfection. It is not possible to be perfect every time because we hire from the human race. People are not perfect. Good people can make mistakes. However, the constant orchestrated villainization of police officers has eroded the public's trust. It has encouraged an air of obstinance, disrespect, and assaultive attitudes and behavior towards police officers. What was that name we called her? Was that Comrade Kamala? Was that what it was? Kamala, Comrade. Well, what we do know is she supported defunding the police, and the best term is they wanted to reimagine policing. I don't know what that means. She is part of the radicalized movement to degrade public safety and make our communities less safe. In contrast, under President Trump's first term in office, he always had our backs. Thank you for that. He never rushed to judgment, and he never, ever in a lifetime called to defund the police, ever. And we owe him a debt of gratitude for that. Let's also forget, when President Donald Trump was president, he closed the borders and locked the door. Border czar Kamala Harris opened the door and let everybody in.
Boo.
Border czar Kamala Harris is allowing millions of illegal immigrants into this country, turning each and every state into a border state and flooding American streets with drugs and crime. The Democrats haven't quite figured this out yet, but it's not rocket science. But open borders equals more crime. Close the—
Bro, it doesn't make sense. It like is not reflected in the crime data. You should go back to the drawing board and talk to your cop friends on why they're like cooking the crime data to make it seem like it's actually lower than ever, you know? Like what's going on? Is it because the FBI's in the pocket? Like what's happening? It's like immigration is up. Okay, fine. Not anymore, but was. But crime went down in that process. So what are we supposed to make of this data? Well, that actually corresponds to the reality that undocumented migrants are responsible for less crime per capita than, you know, natural born U.S. citizens. So I guess more immigration equals less crime. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I find the neighbor kissing. All data is lies, Hasan. And what I think is the actual data. Yeah. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna move on because that shit is objectively boring. Okay. If you're an illegal immigrant, that's the crime on its own. No, does that not count? Brother, they're not talking about someone crossing over the border, which used to be a misdemeanor. Okay. Crime ultimately is malleable. It's just what you write in the books. Sometimes unjust things can be considered crimes. Like, you know, slavery was not a crime, but freeing a slave was, right? Immigration crime has turned into a larger crime under the Trump administration. Ultimately, it's still a border crossing. It's nothing. It's not really a serious offense.